Hi, this is Mr. Minnick helping my students with Control Expressions worksheet number 3. On this worksheet, you're to assume that the 4 variables given up above, username 1, username 2, and so on, that they're equal to the given values throughout the whole worksheet. So if you really wanted to, you could go in here like this, and you could fill in, say, everywhere that you see username 1, well, yep, everywhere that you see username 1, you could put in the word CADE with a capital C. While I'm not requiring you to do that for full credit on this worksheet, I am suggesting that you do it if you are weak on the subject or you just want to be extra careful. So moving on, and let's proceed with question number 1. Question 1 is simply asking overall, is this Boolean expression true or false? Well, we have to look up username 1, which is CADE, and we have to look up username 2, which is Allison. And the way that a less than symbol gets interpreted by Python, when you have 2 strings rather than numbers, the first letter of each string, each word, each string, gets compared. So the letter C is being compared with the letter A. Just like you would arrange 2 books by the title alphabetically on the shelf in a library. At one time in libraries, we had books before this internet and iPad stuff. And if you had a book that was named CADE and another book named Allison, Allison is considered less than CADE because A comes before C. Well, in this case, we are asking, is CADE less than Allison? No, it's not. The C is greater than A. So because overall this is false, you should put a little F here for scratch work. The answer to this whole expression is false. So we circle the F. Skipping down to say number 3. We are comparing from inside the parentheses outward. We are comparing username 2 and username 3. Username 2 is Allison. Username 3 is Aiden. Now the word Allison starts with A, but so does Aiden. So those first letters are tie. So that means we go to the second letter of each word to break the tie. Because the letter A in each of those 2 words are tie, the computer goes to the second letter, just like you would if you were comparing 2 words on your contact list on your iPhone. So the second letter of Allison is L, of course, and the second letter of Aiden is I. Well, alphabetically, I is before L in the alphabet. So that means I is less than L. And since we're asking the question in number 3, is username 2 greater than username 3? Yes, L is greater than I, because you could think of this as L being greater than I, because it's after I in the alphabet. So inside the parentheses here, all of this simplifies now to true. But we're not done yet with number 3. There's this not outside the parentheses. And when you do a not to a true, the final answer is false. Continuing on this worksheet, let's look at number 6. In number 6, there's the Python not equal to symbol, which you may or may not have studied in your high school course yet, but I'll tell you now, that exclamation mark equals means not equal to. So we have to ask, is password 1 up here, password 1, ABC123, is that not equal to ABC123? That's like saying, is Minnick not equal to Minnick? That's like saying, I'm not me, but I am me. So it's false. It's false to suggest that something is not equal to itself. So 6 is false. In number 7, I'd like to do number 7 here to help my students on this first worksheet. Number 7, according to order of operations, you have to do this plus first. And when you put a plus between two strings in double quotes, it really is the same thing as gluing the two strings together. It's as simple as that. So if you take the letter C and glue it together with the word aid, you have one big overall string that spells the word Cade. So think of this as really being replaced by Cade in double quotes. And if you want to do that in your skyscraper, please do. Now we're asking number 7, is username 1 equal to Cade? Well, let's look. Username 1 is indeed Cade with a capital C, and that's what we're comparing it with. So number 7, the final answer, is true. Because that plus glues the two mini strings together into one big string, and that worked. Okay, I'm going to do number 8 because it's a little tricky. We're asking first if username 1 is equal to Cade, but look closely. Username 1 has a capital C, and because most computer languages like Python are case sensitive, that means uppercase and lowercase are very different, and therefore it is not the same thing. It'd be like logging in with a password and having the caps lock button on and you not logging in because you didn't type the right upper or lowercase letters. So in number 8, this right here where I'm waving my mouse, that's false. Because K with a capital C is not equal to K with a lowercase c. Now let's go further and look at the whole picture in number 8. If you have a false ANDed with something, do you get your dessert? No way. It doesn't even matter what's underneath the hidden rectangle here. It doesn't even matter what that expression is. Because if you have a false here where I'm waving my mouse on the truth table, if you're one of these two kids and you don't eat your asparagus, it doesn't matter what B is. The AND parent gives you a false overall no matter what. Whether that's a true underneath there or a false, it doesn't matter. That's what logic is. Some people have it, some people don't. The people that don't have it can learn it in a course like this with practice. None of this relates to math class directly. Algebra, pre-algebra, calculus, trig. Yeah, there's a little bit of logic, but we don't use numbers in computer science quite as much as they used to. It comes down to logic. Now, so the final answer, number 8, was false, and you didn't really even have to show what happens over here under the red. Moving on to one that's even trickier, and let's talk about number 12, which it looks like there's a leftover answer from a previous class period, so I'll just explain why it's true. If you have the word Allison, and then the word Allison with multiple N's at the end, if you compare letter by letter, A and A are equal, so we go to the next letter, tiebreaker. Nope, the next letter, L, is tie. Then we go and compare the I's, they're tie. The S's, the lowercase s's are tie. Then the O is tie. Then the first N is tie. But this username 2 ran out of letters. This one still has 2 more N's. This one wins. If it were a card game, you lost all your cards first in a game where you wanted to get rid of your cards. So it's kind of like Allison wins. And in this case, that means that Allison is less than Allison with the multiple N's. Nothingness is definitely less than whatever this N is in this N. So overall, it's true, because if you had an iPhone with a contact list, if you had mom with 1 M at the end, that entry would come up before mommy. Mom is less than mommy, because mom ran out of letters, and mommy still has the M and the Y. Okay, I will talk about number 13. This, when you see 2 quotes next to each other, that's called the empty string. Some people call it the null string. It means nothingness. It's not even a space. It's nothingness. So does username 3 not equal to nothingness? Heck yeah. Username 3 is Aiden. Don't say that Aiden is like nothingness. Even if there's an Aiden in your class, don't say he's nobody, because he is somebody. Aiden, I'm sorry for using your name 3 years ago as an example. I didn't know that you were going to be a nothing student in my class. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. Okay, I will say one thing about number 14. According to the order of operations, Lucas, what happens first according to the order of operations in the world of Boolean logical operators? And or, which happens first? Correct, and. So it's as if there's a set of parentheses here. You have to do the trues and falses around the and first. Then you would come back moving over to the left and do the or. It's kind of like multiplication is always done before addition. That makes number 14 trickier than you might think. And that's a big hint. Now, if this ever comes up, which I don't think it does in this worksheet, let me explain another good question that once upon a time came from a student named Cliff. If you have the string ABC and you have the string 1, 2, 3, let's figure out which one's less than the other one. I mean, Nathaniel thought of this. A, if you look it up on something called the ASCII chart, which is linked in my notes, some people that are more modern call it the Unicode chart. So if you look those up on Google, you'll see that a lowercase a to a computer, a lowercase a is the number 97. True fact. The number 1, if you look it up, I don't have it memorized, but I know it's less than 97. In fact, I know it's less than 65. It's a number in the 40s. So is the number 97 less than the number 47? No. So it turns out that anything that starts with a digit would be considered less than something that does not start with a digit. That 1 is considered less than that A. And we will probably see that on a future worksheet. Typically, digits are not allowed in a username as a first letter, or a password sometimes even. So digits are rare in this situation to alphabetize, but it could come up. So Nathaniel, that was a really good question. And if anybody's still listening in this 12-minute video, you'll probably go places and be a really, really highly successful, happy computer science tist.